FX, and I trade with Forex.com, Gain Capital. You and I are going to have different prices. We're going to have different charts. Our moving averages are going to look different. If we traded with indicators, those indicators would look different. There would be virtually no consistency between the two charts, even if you were looking at a weekly bar or a monthly bar. And simply put, it's because each broker can make up their own price. When you look at the difference between the platform that I usually use for my charts, Ensign, and you look at your interbank platform, your interbank FX platform, you're probably going to see that there's a difference. Bear with me, I have to adjust my headset here. So because of the different pricing, because pricing differs from broker to broker, charts will differ from broker to broker. Now, when I used to have an advisory service, and one of the biggest complaints in the beginning was people had they would ask me, well, how did you get in at that price? How did you get out at that price? My broker, I never saw that price. I got stopped out. How come you didn't get stopped out? Well, it's because we've got different brokers. There's no centralized exchange. So keep that in mind when you're looking at my charts and when you look at the interbank charts, or if you have a different platform, you're going to see some differences. And that's the reason why I want to use interbank, because most of the people are using that's why I want to use MetaTrader, because most of you are hopefully using MetaTrader because it's free and it's easy to access. As you gain more skill, or if you just want to, you can go out and buy and pay for charts. I use eSignal. I pay, I think, almost $300 a month for my different charts. Now, to be perfectly candid with you, that's because that's what I'm comfortable with. Okay, I've used it for years, and when I tried going over to the freely available stuff, it just really bothered me. So I don't use the freely available stuff just on a personal level because it makes me nervous. Okay, so let's talk about finding the patterns. One of the questions that one of the comments, I guess, that I've been getting over the last couple of weeks has been that people will say, well, the patterns just don't jump out at me on the charts. And I just sort of randomly stopped here because I want to take a look at what we can see on the chart. And if you can follow along here, I'm just going to sort of highlight some of the trades that are potential trades that I see in the marketplace. As I look over here on the left side of the screen, the first thing that I see is that the market had a pretty big move down. There aren't a lot of retracements here. Okay, so price pretty much moved down in a solid momentum move. Now that's different from what you see here. You can see the market moved up and kind of jigged its way down there. So when I see a big move like this, the first thing I start thinking of is, well, let me look for a possible flag pattern or look for a possible pennant pattern. That's the first thing I think of when I see the market move down like that. Okay, now it may not materialize, but I am going to be looking for it. And you can see here that this flag pattern was pretty messy, meaning when it did finally come out, it just sort of went sideways for several hours, and that can happen. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. It just is. You can see here there wasn't a whole lot of momentum. Now let's go in and look at why. Why wasn't there a lot of momentum? Let me get the pointer out here. Now you have to remember the time is going to be in London time. So if you look at the bottom, I don't have any way of pausing the screen, and I'm pointing to it. You can't see where my finger is. Look down at the bottom. You see there's a black rectangle on the timeline below the charts. Hopefully you can see that as I move it wildly around. Let me go ahead and put this down. Okay, so that's 12 o'clock London time. And you can see that's right around the time that traders are going home. So the London traders are going home, and look what happens after they go home. Let me get the arrow out. Okay, that was right there. Okay, they went home on that bar. That's, you know what? I'm sorry. Got myself all riled up about nothing. I was thinking Eastern time and looking at London time. Okay, and you know what? That's a faux pas, and it's a perfect example of why you've got to know the basics. So eventually my brain caught up with me. Whew. Okay, But nevertheless, the point still remains is it's outside of the sweet spot, right? Okay, let me put the arrow back on now that I've got my brain. Oh, I just think that's hilarious. Okay, so we're looking at, you got the arrow there. Okay, that's 12 o'clock. Let's look back here. Then let's just look at the different moves. Okay, we've got 4 a.m., 8 a.m., we've got a little bit of a gap.